there you go. So I'm like, I don't know what the hell it is. I hadn't even used it. So that was where I kind of started my presentation with you guys, was to talk about what it is. Who is Nutanix? What is Nutanix? So Nutanix is a storage vendor. They produce they call it hyperconverged storage system called virtual compute platform. And that is very good because most of the reps think it's just hard drives. And the reason why they think that is because we integrate with Nutanix by encrypting, giving them the key management for encrypting their self-encrypting drives. But that's not what they are. They actually are a virtualized platform. So I'm going to get into that. They started out of San Jose. They got best of VMworld, and they're not competitors to VM. And this is very important because I'm about to tell you what they really are. What they really are is kind of like a data center in a box. They have built into them already VMware ESX, Red Hat Linux. They have hard drives, solid state drives, but this allows them literally to virtualize everything, and they don't need a SAN because it's all built into the box. I was actually blown away when I saw one. I got to see one of the customers had it. I was at Slumberjay. So that was this is the reason I'm doing this whole presentation, was because I hear it once at this other customer, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of a one-off. I've never heard of this company. I go to Slumberjay, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to put them in like 100 mobile units, and I'm like,
yeah, they're pretty new, and I mean, just in the last like 2 years, I've seen like them go like that.
Exactly.
Like, they're hot.
In the first 2 years, this is in my research, and I didn't put this in any of the slides. In the first 2 years, they sold $100 million worth of in the first 2 years.
Do the guys scared of going and setting up their own environment?
Well, what it is, it just makes it easy, right? Because think about this. I don't know about you guys. At home, I tell this story. I'm telling this story for my presentation. At home, my wife and kids are always messing up the systems at home. Always going. I'm like, man, I should just set up ESX and create a bunch of virtual machines, and then when they blow them up, I can do the snapshot. I can revision, but I should do every computer in the house that way. Like even every computer I have, I should just virtualize it and give it a hypervisor, and that way I can that's what they did. They took that idea and said, you know what? Let's do it for the data center. So now you create your own virtual cloud. You have your own cloud. You just take these bad boys, rack and stack them, and then you can start popping out VMs, and it's already there. Licensing doesn't change. They don't ever have to deal with licensing. It's already figured into the box. So they don't have to true up with VMware or anything like that. And it also supports, I don't know if I put this in the slide, it also supports, no I didn't, not just VMware, it does other hypervisors. So it supports Hyper-V, it supports KVMs, it supports other platforms. So that's what is making it very popular. All right, so what do we do? How do we play with these guys? Well, this is right out of their documentation. I pulled this out of here. So to enable it, we need a third-party encryption key management tool. Right now, we are the only certified platform for them. We are the only ones that they have certified against. Now, they've opened it up for everyone else, but they haven't certified them.
We've given them some extra love too. Our what was I at? It was Microsoft Ignite.
Oh,
so last year at the Microsoft Ignite
Very
conference,
nice.
we had a random drawing for an Xbox that they happened to be across the booth.
Hey, this is being recorded.
Yeah, our BD team and PM had just kind of finalized all of our strong partnerships with them, so we want to give them a little extra love.
Awesome.
Which might play into why we're the only ones certified.
No, like, hey, well, we certified. They are it. Yeah. So, and I'm telling you this, and I wanted to make sure I propagated this so that you guys understood it and so that you can perpetuate this to your salespeople, because you're going to probably hear about it more. I think it's going to come up more. And a buddy of mine told me years ago when VMware came out, I never forgot it. He put VMware on his laptop. I was working at Sun, and he had a Windows laptop, and we used to run Tapholes and run Spark systems, Spark laptops. And so at Sun, they mandated everybody had to have a Spark system, period. Except my buddy comes in and he has a Windows system running, and it's running Solaris on it. And I'm like, how the hell did you do that? He had VMware on it. And I'll never forget, I'm like, stupid. Who wants to put that on their laptop, right?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, right, VMware is all over the place. I think this has that kind of potential. So I think we'll start to see a lot more customers do this and be able to scale up.
Who's buying these? Give me some names.
So, just Slumberjay. was a big one. And I don't know if you guys knew this. I learned this in dealing with Slumberjay. Slumberjay was one of the original founders of our company. Did you guys know that? One of our original on the cards, yeah, on the Gemalto side.
It was one of the competitors too.
Right. Oh, yeah, I guess so now too, because they still do. Had no idea. As I started looking into it, yeah, I'm like, son of a gun, I never would have known that. So now it's an oil company, right?
Schlumberger spun out the smart card stuff called Axalto.
That's right.
And
And that's okay.
That's the Alto of Gem Alto.
Right, and then it was
Yeah.
Gem Plus,
And Axalto.
And Axalto.
became Gem Alto.
Yep. And there you have it. So a lot of cool stuff in me learning about Nutanix.
definitely.
Actually, Schlumberger is much bigger than that. I've been
Oh,
training
they're
at
huge.
Schlumberger in England on some completely different products.
Yeah. They're huge. They're huge.
But you went to the oil company down in Houston.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
So that being said, where do we have a play in this? What can we do? Well, we have a really good foot in. They like us. We are the only certified platform for it. But here's how we plug in. The real question that your guys are going to ask is, how do you price this?
This is so important.
Because I was like, so Scott, what's up, man? How do we price it?
Yeah, and if you look at like their, and I think even Tally has a questions on it too. Someone forwarded me like actual bill of materials from like Nutanix quote. The way they draw it up looks so
Yeah.
stupid.
You wouldn't be able to figure it out.
Yeah, no, they could do a much better way of
Better job
writing
at it,
that.
yes.
But there's keywords they use, and one of those is storage controller.
Exactly.
So if you zone in on that, find whatever quantity is next to it, and those little lines are your connector prices.
So because you can have a Nutanix box that has more than one storage controller in it.
Yep, and it's per VM hypervisor cluster. Yeah,
Yes.
so, because you'll see lots of people will be like, yeah, we have like 50 VMs, don't care. We have 17 hypervisors, don't care. Each hypervisor has to have its own storage controller. So essentially just look for
Hypervisor or storage controller.
They should match up, double check it.
Yep.
That's your quantity.
So hypervisor is per day physical box or?
No.
No.
So, and that's the thing is that you can have many hypervisors within Nutanix thing. Because it's licensed, so you can have one box with like 5 hypervisors inside.
Are they all the same class or Hyper-V and ESX and KVM?
Oh, that I don't know.
Good question.
That's
I don't
great.
know
They can be
because I
different
think
now.
they can be.
But they used to only be ESX, right?
Yeah, they used to only
now,
be ESX.
now they can cross a little bit.
But I think they can.
Most
So they can
don't.
create, this over here. And so, but yeah, most don't. Most are. They ship with ESX, right? So, but they can install the other stuff. They can install Hyper-V, and they can do it. It's really neat when you really think about it, because that just opens up a lot of potential for them. The potential for us is encrypting the self-encrypted drives. But there's something else to that. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, is because this topic for me, it sent me on a whirlwind and kind of a tailspin to figure out how we can fit into this, because here's my use case for Schlumberger. Schlumberger has mobile units that are going out in the field. They don't all have data center connectivity. So because they don't have that data center connectivity, they said, we have self-encrypting drives on our Nutanix clusters. We need a key management system for them. Now, I said, okay, how much are you paying for these Nutanix boxes? Now, why am I asking them this? Because I'm about to show them this price tag for KeySecures, and I just want to make sure it's not more than the box.
Yep.
So they said,
You're right.
they said, you know what, we're spending about 100, he's slow to tell me, he's like, about 100, 150K on the Nutanix boxes. And I went, oh, he's not going to like this, because they need at least 2. Right?
They don't.
Well, they do, because of what his issue. We never want to be out in the field. They don't, right? I agree with you, because I said they don't necessarily need to. They're going to want to, because to solve their use case. And the use case is this: we never want to not be able to start up these drives.
That's correct. Now, in that scenario, that's a very good point. There's two ways to approach that.
Mm-hmm.
Always approach with the scenario of getting 2 in there for high availability.
Yes.
Because of 2 things: the keys and availability for those
Yes.
drives.
Yep.
Yes.
Especially in an NSE scenario, NSE will zeroize the key if it tries so many times
And they can't
and
get
can't find that key secure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want you guys to also pay attention here too, because this goes further than just Nutanix.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. When we start looking at Dell, when we start looking at NSE, right, for NetApp, per controller, always per controller, for how many KMIP per connectors they need, okay?
There is no HA though in KeySecure.
What's that?
No HA in KeySecure. I'm an HSM guy. I know what HA is. HA means any box is available. You don't even know which it is. You guys actually do a failover on.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
You're right. Yeah. So we're
yes.
doing an active clustering
Mhm.
from the perspective of the keys are across everything, but from a true HA,
Yeah.
we're not.
It's
We're
not
telling
true.
it where to fail over. So it's just
Right.
it's more of a failover than it is a HA.
Just like, like when you're setting up
Yeah,
a Dell
correct.
component storage, it'll ask you,
Yeah.
the primary and then failover IP.
Correct.
So we'll always try to reach to one, but because the keys are replicated, if you can't talk to one, it'll talk to the other. Yeah.
You see to the side where he has a node. A lot of times, customers or storage people in particular will refer to a node as the network connection going in or network connection going out. That's a node to them.
Yep.
To a security guy, the storage controller is a node. Okay? So this can get very confusing very quickly.
Which is why I love this diagram, because there's so much confusion because of the terminology Nutanix uses.
Yeah.
Like, whoever created this is brilliant. I was like, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know I did.
But yeah, no.
I did today. For these purposes, I created it.
Yeah, you did.
I deleted one line and added it back.
The good thing is just always remember that it's the same model across the different self-encrypting drives, right?
Yes.
Is that it's based off of that controller. It's not based off of how many shelves are in there. It's not based off of how many network interfaces. It's not based off how many VMs, right?
Yep.
It's based off of how many controllers, because each controller creates one master key that's actually wrapping those data encryption keys
Within
on
that
each
type of
drive.
network, yeah.
Okay? And then the KMIP connector is just copying that key and or creating a key and wrapping that key. So same thing with TDE, right? It takes that key and copies it over to the KeySecure and then stores it there. Or you can create one and wrap, right? Again, so it just depends on how you're doing it or what calls are being made. KMIP 1.0, only copy.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no create.
No.
But KMIP 1.2, you can do create now. Okay, so again, depends on what you're
Cambridge is
playing
only
with.
about 3 years old, guys.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, which is
We
crazy.
invented a couple of years ago. We didn't even have it.
Yeah.
And remember,
Right, you
KMIP
guys hold on.
means Key Management Interoperability Protocol.
It's a protocol, yeah.
And so it's the centralized protocol now for key management, right?
Now, one thing I wanted, this is kind of a sidebar that I want to caution is that right now we support KMIP 1.2. So just because we say we support KMIP 1.2 doesn't mean we support KMIP 1.2.
Correct.
We do not support the full spec. If you go to Oasis and you say, show me all the commands,
Yeah.
here's like, I'll make up a
It's
number,
huge.
60.
Yeah.
We probably
Let me borrow
support
here.
like 15 of them.
If you don't
All
mind.
right. What that is saying is that our
Thank
code
you.
is that if you try to speak KMIP 1.2 to us, we'll allow it, but we might come back saying we don't support that operation. We'll gracefully close that.
Now, one other thing too, just before I go on and let you continue.
Yeah, go ahead. Don't do my
The difference
presentation.
between KMIP and Protect App, right? Because this really gets confusing as well.
Yep.
KMIP is one protocol. Protect App is using XML, TCP, right, to do those communications. KMIP's not. KMIP's a, so if people need code, that's not something that we have. That's open source on Oasis KMIP, and they can go get that code. And like Scott said, they can get the code there. They can find out what algorithms are supported, what everything's from KMIP, not from us. So we're not providing them APIs through KMIP.
Absolutely. And I'll send an email too that kind of touches on exactly what we're all saying, but I got a lot of questions on, well, if we support KMIP, why would I need Protect App? Like,
Yeah.
why would I?
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you. If you want to create your own application and tie it directly into KMIP, be my guest. But if I can give you this already done, fully crypto built in .NET or C or whatever,
It's not equal. It's not apples to apples.
Exactly. It's not an apples to apples, and we've already done most of the work for you in
Yeah.
terms of what you want to do.
Drop it in.
Well, and KMIP is not encryption.
Exactly.
Right.
It's only
well,
key management.
Only key management.
Sort of.
Yeah. But we're not there yet. So,
So
all right.
we're not 1.3.
Yeah, we're not there yet. So it doesn't matter.
All right, so this brings me to my next point, and that really is this, and this is the problem I had to solve with the use case of it being out in the field and being able to be always able to connect up. So this is a problem I want to run by you guys to think about it. One of our competitors, I guess, was in there and told them, hey, we can sell you one box, and we have the option that if you can't communicate with this box, that you can pull the key off of a thumb drive. That is one of the things that they said. So I said, okay, okay, I don't know if we can do that. I don't know what our capabilities are.
Yeah.
I said, let me look into that. I want to find out what more we can possibly do. I don't know. Right now, I'm at 2 KeySecures.
This is the second scenario I started to, and I got sidetracked by showing that. But the second scenario is running daily backups, and those backups are on a drive, okay? And because the KeySecure is going down, you don't want to back it up to the KeySecure. You want to back it up to a drive, but then you have to take that drive and put it somewhere securely, otherwise you lose all FIPS validation.
Yeah.
And or
Then you got to
security at
restore
that
to a
point.
new K460, which you got to get.
Well, you can
You
follow,
can do that.
You can follow the patterns here. So one thing, can you go back one slide?
Some of the vendors also
All right,
have,
hold on.
if you have the key and you can provide that to them, then they can still open or still turn on.
So I
Yeah,
wanted
you got
to,
to think like a bad guy there. The bad guy gets hold of that key back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, from a
so
security
if the
perspective.
customer is really held on to having only one KeySecure, then I would recommend to them virtual. Now, as of this,
I'm about to get into that. Keep going.
sure, and as of this exact moment in time, I can officially announce GA of the virtual K450. I have it though.
Yeah, June
Yeah,
30th.
that's good. That's awesome.
Cool.
Well done.
So,
Yeah, right.
so a virtual K450 is now available. That being said, this is absolutely true, albeit not supported, because you fall into a catch-22.
Yes,
The virtual KeySecure is on my controller is down.
No.
That's only if
it's on
it's
that same box.
same box.
So,
Yes.
which is what I'm
Yeah.
getting, which is my next point.
Yeah.
Stop trying to steal my thunder.
Sorry.
All right.
And even then,
Yeah.
you can also not encrypt that one set.
That one,
Right.
right, so that you can always get that
And-
one.
There's ways.
And now,
That's
what-
right.
And now you'll learn this more, because I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I know enough to be dangerous. So what Raul just said, you can not encrypt that one drive. With Dell compellers, you can choose which drives you want to be encrypted and not. You can have a mixed
Control.
bag.
Right.
With NetApp, you cannot. The whole thing has to be encrypted.
The whole
Oh,
control.
okay.
itself, yeah.
And that might hold true for Nutanix.
So I have no idea if that's
I
true
have
or
no
not.
idea, right?
No
So
idea.
I need to
But
look into that.
Some do and some don't. So
That's a good point. I don't know what the answer is to that though, so I'm gonna look into that moving on in the future.
Yeah.
So the other option though that we do have is this, and this is exactly what you're gonna say, and this is what I've been asked from the sales guys. Do we have to sell them a physical box?
No.
Kim, I said, you know what, we can sell them a virtual box, but it is the catch-22, the chicken or the egg, right?
Mhm.
Unless, and this is what our customer is doing, they actually have 2 Nutanix boxes in those setups that they're clustering towards each other. So you do have the ability to sell them 2 virtual KeySecures, one for each box, and one that they talk to the other box.
Sure.
That way, an unencrypted drive on the other boxes. You just have to make sure that both those boxes never go down at the same time.
right.
What's the price of a virtual KeySecure for?
Big difference, huge difference. Go ahead.
It is.
$5,000, like right.
Yeah, virtual KeySecure, I think it's like what, 12 something.
Well, that's for
Virtual is 12.
that's for the 150. We don't know what it's going to be yet for the.
Right,
Yeah,
but the 150 is
actually, I
fine.
realized-
But yes, okay.
It
so
meets it. $1,200 on the
Yeah.
150.
12 grand.
And to be
So-
honest, and the big things too are that.
Oh no, you're
But
talking
actually, I was
12
gonna
grand
ask-
on the physical.
Per virtual KeySecure.
I was
No,
gonna ask
no,
you
it's
guys, have
like-
you seen this thing in action? Have
Yes.
you seen it like connect to a KeySecure?
Hold on. Let's make sure we get pricing right. You're saying the virtual KeySecure itself costs 12 grand.
Let me tell you right
I
away.
believe it's 10 grand
It's 10
plus
grand
2
plus
grand
2,500 for
No,
the.
but that's the,
Oh, you don't need it in the KMIP scenario, right? Because KMIP's already supported.
Sure.
But you need
It's
the
only
Protect
encryption.
App license, no?
No, you don't need Protect App for this.
Well,
So-
it's the generic connector. Well, actually, we have a specific Nutanix.
So
Connector.
with this.
Yeah, we have a Nutanix connector.
So with that scenario, you also have to figure out, and you have to teach the customer this. How much is it costing them to dedicate that
Yes,
hypervisor?
which was my next point because we talked about this because I said, you know what, you guys
So
are
it's
still
12 or
you're
10
dedicating
plus.
hardware to this, or you could go buy separate hardware, which in case you're still dedicating hardware. And they were like, yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know if we want to do that. Maybe we should just go with the box. Here's why. The quote that we initially gave them, the initial quote, best case that we had at this point, 65 grand, 70 grand.
it's a
So,
KeySecure.
Yeah.
so
And so,
It's a pair of KeySecures, actually.
yeah, a pair of KeySecure, it was a pair. And so, but for them, think about it. They paid $100,000 just for the whole cluster setup. So they're like, just to unlock the drive?
Right. So guys, that's all cool, right? But isn't that cannibalizing sales in a way? And don't tell the sales guy this. Keep it between us.
It
two,
is.
Chris.
Well, you're talking about cannibalizing and doing the virtual piece?
This
Yes, do
this is
virtual
where,
instead of the hardware.
well, I was talking to sales guys about this too. Same thing. it's yes and no.
We're
Yes,
still
it
getting a
is,
sale.
but are we going to lose the sale because?
Right, we're going to lose. Here's my point.
Nobody
I feel
can
like
buy a
we're-
box if they can do virtual. Come on.
Right, and if they can do well, and if they can do virtual, and you got to remember, I'm going to multiply this times 100, whatever it is. So they're looking at this not as it's just a one, because normally what would happen is we sell them a pair of KeySecures, and it would manage this whole infrastructure, right, from their data center.
Yes.
That's not their problem. They're decentralized. So now I have to sell them 100 KeySecures,
Virtual
200. Well, now it's going to be 200 virtual KeySecures, right, if they scale up to the 100 mark.
Mhm.
And so that's what we're looking. So we have to start comparing pricing and being able to do that. The other option that I looked at in this, just to let you guys know, is that they could do a virtual, and I don't know if we can do this. This is what I need to know. Well, no, yeah, I know we can. We can do a physical KeySecure in the mobile units, one in their data center that is clustered with all of the other units that are out there. And I don't know if we could, if this is the question I have for you guys, is it a 1-to-1 ratio on the cluster, or can they all be cross-clustered to each other because it's only 100 keys?
Yeah.
Many.
They
Or
can all
they-
be cross-clustered.
But it can be all many, right?
Yeah.
So we do that.
But maybe you don't want to do it.
Well, maybe. Here's why. We would have one box, that, or have all of them, because they can all talk via satellite. The satellite isn't on all the time. That's the problem. But in this kind of scenario, we could say, hey, look, you lost the KeySecure. Make sure your satellite links up. You can
Yep.
get it back up.
No,
So it gives that
Not
a
It's a customer
necessarily.
choice.
So if the KeySecure goes down, that Nutanix has to be configured to point to that other one. Otherwise, it can't even see it.
I got you.
So
Okay.
this is where you're looking at. This is where you're looking at host names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
got
if you're
you.
doing host names, so I'll give the the easy example of you have two. If it's just doing DNS, then you're 50-50 chance, right? Because DNS
Yeah.
is stupid.
Yeah.
So it's going to try one, success. That's going to fail.
Yeah.
Try, oops, I'm going to try this one.
Yeah.
So maybe you're looking at hardware load balancer somewhere in there. Host names are
I got you.
but-
Yeah.
So Nutanix cannot take two IP addresses and do that.
No, it can.
It probably can,
Yeah.
but you figure
Okay.
if you have a single entry as a host name and you have like 15 boxes underneath it, then it's just how when it reaches out to try to connect one, there's a 1 in X chance that it's going to try to talk to the dead one. If one dies. So
So it doesn't mark it as down.
exactly, because DNS has no idea.
Now, specifically having one big cluster, I don't like the idea. You expose all these keys from other systems.
Into the rest of the cluster. Well, unless I just have them all talk back, well, they all would still crosstalk, even if I had them all just talk back to the centralized KeySecure in the data center.
No, but if in data center you have a single one and everybody synchronized, so
To the single one in the data center. Yep.
I don't know if you can do it. So when you one in the center and 5 on the branches.
Call it home. Yep. And then call it home, and
So
they are.
you can choose for the replication which ones will replicate stuff. So I could say that all of my KeySecures are going to join to my virtuals out in the field. And
But
join to
yeah,
my
but you
KeySecure in the
cannot
cluster,
create-
and these won't replicate out. See what I mean?
Yes.
So
Exactly.
everyone is joining to the central node, but because the central node, they're not going to replicate all their keys to the rest.
How
They don't go out.
Mhm.
They just come in.
Right.
how you make configuration that's not
It's in the under the cluster
Oh, that's the
configuration.
HA config, not cluster. Cluster is,
For cluster, you can choose specifically what you want to cluster or not.
right, but you cannot say as a master just send out,
Right.
but as a slave don't get it.
It's the same thing.
two-way,
for everybody,
yeah.
right?
I think.
And by the way, this is
Doesn't matter
exactly
where
what
change
companies do.
happen, you
yeah.
will
They're trying to
initiate
change-
It's training in mesh
Yeah.
environment.
They're
so never
trying to
mind.
change the requirements based on the
Yeah,
numbers
turn
of
it into
units or stuff that can't actually happen. The Schlumberger guys said to me they've got guys on an oil rig, and I won't go into this too long.
Yeah.
That need to connect to the network.
Yeah.
But there's no network connection.
Yeah.
I just stood there.
Yeah. What can I say to
What
you?
can I
can't
do
get on.
to make a magic network connection?
Yeah. And that's the same problem they try. I get it.
But anyway,
Well, so with that, this brought me back. So I'm still at 2 physical boxes in the mobile units, right?
So here's the thing. So with virtual KeySecures, whoops.
We have 2 minutes.
It's 12. It's 12.5.
you have 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes.
Oh, go ahead then.
No, I'm wrapping it up.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. No, I'm glad to have this conversation. So this is good. I wanted it to spark conversation, and I wanted to talk about this problem. But more importantly, I wanted you guys, in summary, to see that this new technology of Nutanix is out there and it's actually picking up steam pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to be aware of it, because you'll probably hear about it again, and we already have integration points into it. So that being said, any questions or any more for discussion? We've had a lot of them already.